Hey y'all, welcome back. Got another episode of Fiberartsy Reads here today. My name is Crystal, and first of all, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who checked out my first video, left me some nice comments and everything, and oh gosh, I really appreciate it. And so it definitely gave me the sort of kick to keep going, and I thought I'd go ahead and do another video. Well, I'm feeling good about it. So and what I thought I'd do was just do a little catch-up video for what I've done so far here in April. So some recent reads and what I'm currently reading. Ready? Let's go. So first up, here in April, I was in the mood for something just real light, fun, and easy. And so I read a couple of romance books. That's usually what I turn to for romance when I need something light and easy. And I read a handful of romances a year. It's not my main genre, but I'll throw one in every now and then, like I said, when I just need something fun. So I started out with a book called Blindsided by Amy Daws. And this is basically a rom-com about, and this is set in the UK, so we have a football player who's actually Scottish, and then our heroine there, it's a friends to lovers, and it was actually really, really hilarious and funny. I laughed out loud lots of times, and so that's really what I needed. And so yeah, it was good. If you need something funny, this will fit the bill, and it's a little sexy too. So I think I ended up with 4 stars on that one because it was what I needed at the time, and it was really funny. So I then read, and I looked down at I got a notebook covered in stickers. Anybody else have one of those? I read Double Down by Susan Hayes. This is the first book in I think a series called The Drift, I believe the series is called. This is a sci-fi romance. We've got cyborgs and like all kinds of, I don't want to call them alien races, but different species. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff in this one. It is a female, male, male romance. We've got that going on. The 2 men are cyborgs. And then our lady love is like part human, part another type of thing that I don't remember. She's the blue lady here. And this one was fun too. It was definitely pretty steamy, but also like had a lot of action in it, a lot of sci-fi kind of action, because our lady's a pilot, and she's got these this guy that she used to know who worked with her father. Her father has passed away, and he's like hounding her and trying to like kidnap her basically for like money that her dad supposedly left behind, and he wants to basically steal it and steal her ship and everything. So we definitely get some space action in this too, so that was a lot of fun. And again, light, fun. The stuff isn't super serious. It fits the bill for what I need. Again, I landed on 4 stars because it was fun. And then I got serious and I listened to the audiobook for The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I've been wanting to read this one for a long time because I've heard good stuff about it. And yeah, this one is super spooky. And gosh, where do you begin with this one? We've got hints of like a folk horror, witchy stuff mixed with like slightly ghost feels and some supernatural paranormal type things. We've got 2 timelines, which I love, and we go flash backwards or forwards with 2 timelines. We've got a time set in 1908 and then like a present day, and basically there's this house that's kind of secluded. It's on the outskirts of this small town. It has a lot of forested area around it. Maybe there's something in the forest. I don't know. There's this thing called the Devil's Hand, which hello, terrifying. It's basically this rock formation that comes out of the ground kind of in the back property of this house that looks like a hand, and people go missing. We've got diary entries. I don't want to say much more because uncovering the story as you go is worth it. And it's definitely got some really good creepy, spooky elements to it. And like I said, yeah, there's just secrets and things that you discover along the way. And I ended up on 5 stars for this because I devoured it. I loved it a lot. So I was so glad that I finally read this one. So yeah, really loved it. And then I pulled up the audiobook for I Closed a Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. I listened to the audiobook for this as well. I had listened to the audiobook for A Long Way to a Smaller Planet last month. Really loved it, and saw that it's there on Hoopla, so I was like, dig into the second one. And I love this one too. And it's just, it's so good. It's, again, very character driven, but this one actually had maybe more of a succinct sort of time, or a storyline. We really only follow kind of 2 major characters that are, if you read the first one, Lovey and Pepper from A Long Way to a Smaller Planet, or who we now follow in this one. And we go back to Pepper's story, her upbringing and everything, and we follow Lovey as she's getting used to her new normal, and it's just so good. And what I like about it is that it really opened up the world a bit even more, and how things are through Pepper's story in particular. And yeah, I don't know. If you liked A Long Way to a Smaller Planet, you're probably going to like this one. And again, I landed on a 5 stars because it was so good. And I teared up in a couple of spots. I mean, Becky Chambers makes you really feel for her characters, for sure. So I then read the audio, or listened to the audio for Little Eyes by Samanta Scweblin. This is now my 2nd Scweblin book, and I loved this one too. I've had an awesome reading month so far. This one is bizarre. So we've got these little, basically they're kind of stuffed animals, stuffed little creatures. They can like roll around and everything, and they have cameras for eyes. And if you buy one and take one home, somewhere in this world is maneuvering that animal, if that makes sense. So you're either like someone who buys the animal and gets watched, or you are someone who controls an animal on the other end, so you are watching other people. And I got about to an hour into the book, and I was like, this isn't going to end well. this isn't going to end well. And yeah, it doesn't end very well for many of these people. We follow, I don't know, 5 or 6 different people, and they're on kind of both ends of the, some people are being watched through their animals, and then some are watchers, and they're cute little rabbits and panda bears, and they're cute little things, but it definitely falls into this obsession for some. And then of course this ethics of watching people, and but some people taking it too far. And I liked this one a lot. I landed on 4 stars for it. Like the other Scweblin book, she just has this sort of undercurrent of uncomfortableness that I like. I also read Fever Dream by her, which has this kind of same tone. There's this weird uncomfortableness about it, and I recommend it. It's so good. I loved it a lot. And my most recent finish was The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. I'm a big N.K. Jemisin fan. I will forever say that here on this channel, so just know that moving forward. And this is book 1 of her Dreamblood duology, and I loved this. Again, awesome reading month so far. And gosh, how to explain this one? This is another this is a fantasy world, and we have this one kind of big city, larger city called Gujarat, and there's a prince here, but the prince is basically almost like an avatar, or they call it something, something along those lines, for the goddess. And this is definitely a goddess worship kind of world. And in this world there are what they call gatherers, and that is the magic of the world, are the gatherers. they go into people's dreams and their memories and gather what they call dream blood. That's why this is called the dream blood duology. So, and they call it a tithe. You know, like you tithe at your church or whatever, and it does usually kill the person. So a lot of times it's people that are sick or people that are elderly, and they usually volunteer, you know, very willingly, you know, to give themselves, because what the gatherer also does is make them feel really wonderful through their dreams, and so they are going to be set for the afterlife with the goddess and just live, you know, eternally, whatever, with the goddess, with wonderful happiness and peace in their life. And so that's kind of the world. Now, we've got another city that we follow, and another character in here named Sunandi, who is an ambassador from that city. Now, they have outlawed gatherers there, essentially, like they don't allow this kind of magic. But she's an ambassador, like I said, and let's just say a lot of political intrigue at this point, secrets, some stuff starts going down, and yeah, so our main gatherer that we follow is Yahiru, and and he's learning things as well. And I don't want to say too much more because I don't, you know, it's hard to describe one, and then it's like I don't like, of course, give too much away. But this is a duology, so I'm definitely going to go back and, you know, hit the second book pretty soon while this is fresh in my mind. And 5 stars for me because I loved it. I love N.K. Jemisin. Writes amazing worlds, amazing characters, and yeah, I love it. So that's all the books that I finished so far here in April. A pretty good reading month. Like I said, quickly I'm gonna go through what I'm reading right now. I've got a few on the go. I've now started Memories of Ice by Stephen Erikson. This is book 3 for the Malazan series. Not too far in. I'm on chapter 5, which is 1,000,000 pages long. So that's fun, but enjoying it so far. We're getting some of our characters that we met in Gardens of the Moon, so that's fun. Yep. For my little book club that I run with some friends of mine on Facebook, we're reading The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. This is a nonfiction that, like it says, documents the Great Migration of African Americans from the South to the North and West of the U.S. And so far loving it, but, you know, again, not too far. Just started that one. And last but not least, I'm making my way through Not All Monsters by Sara Tantlinger. This is an anthology of female horror writers, and so far I'm liking it. I think I've read maybe 5 or 6 stories. I'm just gonna kind of make my way through it, you know, through the month, and liking it so far. It's got, you know, a lot of good authors in it so far, so most I haven't read from, so so enjoying that. I mean, that's about it. And let me show you, though, I just got this in the mail today, so let me show you. Paper Girls Volume 6, and I just saw Dan over at Book Nook Noggin talk about number 6. He did a quick review, and it reminded me that I need to finish out this series. And so I went ahead and bought number 6, and I just want to reread the whole series in kind of one fell swoop, because I don't really remember now everything that I read, even from book 1. So it's kind of a complex sci-fi graphic novel, so I need a refresher. So I think I'm just going to start over and read the whole thing from start to finish. I think that's it, y'all. I hope that made sense. I'm trying to keep these short, so I hope that everyone's doing well. Again, thanks so much for watching, giving me some feedback. Let me know how this one goes. And if there's anything that you would kind of like me to talk about here as far as the book stuff goes, let me know. I'll be happy to give that a go. And I think that'll do it. So everyone take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.